Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about sector rotations and how to find leading and lagging sectors in the market. We are going to look at a more macro view of the market. So this is not for day trading or even short-term swing trading. We actually want to see which sectors are leading right now, and then we want to find plays in those sectors for different time frames. But overall, this is more of a macro analysis than anything else. So if you go to the stocks dashboard and to the market dashboard, you will see we have this sector rotations chart, and this this is showing you is on the x-axis we have the date, and then on the y-axis we have the cumulative change in the price of the sector ETF over some last time period. What you see on this chart right now is the performance of different sector ETFs over the last about 1.5 months, and let's actually now talk about what we are seeing in the chart, and let's see how we can find plays based off that. So one thing that we should note right away is this purple line is the price of S&P, and so there are about 4 sectors that are leading S&P right now. That's good to know. And let's just look at the top maybe 2 sectors, which are consumer discretionary, which is stocks like Costco, Kroger's, Pepsi, and then we have technology, which is like Meta, Apple, stocks like that. And so this is good to know. This is telling us that over the last 30 trading days or 1.5 months, we have been having technology and consumer discretionary as our leading sectors. And so what we want to be doing if we want to find bullish plays is we want to look at individual names within these sectors and find bullish plays in them. And so that's a very simple use case of how do you actually look at these leading sectors and then go ahead, either just trade their ETFs or find individual names, find names with high relative strength or high strength in the price within these sectors and play them. Another thing on the opposite side is you can actually look at the sectors that are lagging, which a good one these days is energy. So the energy sector has been leading for a while. You can see if you look at the last 120 trading days, energy was significantly higher than any other sector for a while. But ever since ever since June start, it has been going down quite a bit. So it was up about 40% in cumulative terms since the start of February. Now it is up only about 10%, let's say, since the start of February. And other sectors like utilities have actually beaten it year to date. So just good things to know. But 30-day typically gives us a good sort of trade-off between shorter term time frames and longer term time frames. We do want to catch these moves as or before they are happening, and so it's good to look at slightly shorter term time frames. 7 days might be too less or too small because there are sudden moves or there are volatile moves within these sectors if you are looking at a very short time frame. Okay, so based off of this chart, we know that consumer discretionary and technology sectors are doing good. Now with that knowledge, what can we do? So the first thing we can do is we can actually go to Scanny, which is our daily scanner, and just filter by sector. So let's filter by technology, and then let's look at the top stocks in this sector. Obviously we all know Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, things like that are the top stocks based on market cap, but these are not the top stocks based on relative strength, which is how has this stock been doing compared to the overall market. So what you can do is this RS column is the relative strength column. You can just click on it twice and you will get the stocks that have been doing the best. And one other filter that you can add is a minimum volume of probably 1 million. Okay, and so this gives you about 169. Let's see if we can, because we obviously want a small number of stocks that we need to be looking at. And now we have a list of stocks that have been going up over the last 30 days quite a lot, and these are obviously the leaders within that sector. So technology sector is leading, but there are stocks within there are companies within that sector that are leading as well. It's not Apple, it's not Microsoft, it's companies like Coinbase, it's companies like Lyft, it's companies like Cloudflare that have been leading over the last 1 month. If you're just looking at a shorter term change, then you can also sort based on the 7-day column, which would again give you very similar results but slightly different tickers. So now we can see that the stocks that are doing really well are, let's say, Coinbase, Lyft, Cloudflare. So if you want to make plays, then these are the top stocks that you should consider. Again, I'm talking about bullish plays here because they've been going up. So anytime there is a dip in them, let's say they fall onto a support or onto a moving average, you can use that dip as a buying opportunity. You can look at their options flow, you can do a bunch of stuff, or you can do a lot of due diligence here. And once you have a candidate set of stocks that you want to look at. And that's just a very basic way of using sector rotations. Let's actually look at something like Coin and Net. So let's go to our stocks dashboard. We can see that the XLK ticker, which is obviously the technology sector, has been doing quite well. It's above the 20 and 50 moving average, and it's also above the anchored VWAP from the last top. Then it is right on the year to date VWAP. So a really good signal here might be if we actually cross above the year to date VWAP, then that might be a really good bullish signal in the entire sector. But obviously we want to be looking at some individual names as well. Another good way to look at these sector rotations is to look at the price pairs, or how the price of the sector has been moving compared to SPY, and this is a chart that shows that. So you can see we were in a downtrend for quite some time when we look at XLK versus S&P, which means S&P was outperforming XLK. But over the last couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, we have actually broken that downtrend. Let's assume this was a trend line. We have broken that downtrend and now we are going up. So this is just another confirmation that the stock has broken out and it is now starting to lead S&P and other sectors. So let's just look at maybe Coin. And obviously Coin went down for quite a long time, from about 400 all the way to 50. But you can see over the last at least couple of days, or probably 1 or 2 months, it has gone from about 50 all the way to about 100 or 90. So that's a 100% increase, which is why the relative strength in Coin right now is really high. So obviously with a lot more volatility, still the relative strength is very high. So you at least want to be looking at these names and see if you can find place. Let's look at Lyft. Very similar chart to Coin, right? Then let's look at Net. Again, very similar chart to Coinbase and Lyft. So what's happening is many of these names that have been broken down for quite some time are now starting to surge again, and they are showing the highest relative strength. Obviously, if you want to stay safe, then you can look at the top market cap stocks in the sector, which would be Apple and Microsoft, and then just find plays based off that. And you can see that even Apple has been going up quite nicely. The reason Coin and Lyft and other stocks have higher relative strength is because the moves are much bigger in those stocks these days than Apple. But again, you can play any name within that sector as long as you know that the sector is leading. And so I'll stop there. I hope this is enough context for everyone to understand what sector rotations are, how do you find them, and how do you actually use them. One example that I'll give at the very end is XLE. So around February and March, we actually had XLE had a breakout, which energy sector had a breakout around here, right? So similar to XLK, it was going down, but then it broke this downtrend, and it broke out of this sort of resistance region in around mid-January. And you can see that over the next 2 or 3 months, it made a huge move. So we found about 50 to 100% profits in many names like OXY, XOM, and that was all because of this, just looking at sector rotations and being there when the move was happening. And so obviously we exited somewhere around here because it's very hard to predict where things might go, but still this breakout around this region gave us confidence. And if you go to our blog, you'll find a post about it where we actually posted these charts as these leaders were developing, as energy was developing as a leader, and they worked out very well. So this is a really meaningful signal and a meaningful tool in the market, and I would definitely highly recommend everyone to use it to find which sectors are leading and lagging, and then go into individual stocks within those sectors, because that gives you the highest reward to risk ratio. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys around.